All right. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. If you can hear and see me okay, put a one in the chat. My name is Brother Bilal, and I'm super excited for this amazing panel on fathers and dads. If you all are excited like I am, and if you want to hear some dad jokes, drop some ones in the chat. Bismillah. I have a bunch of dad jokes that would last us all night, giggling and whatnot. Let me get some ones in the chat. Bismillah. All right, we are live. Let's see some people in the comments, ones in the chat. All right, let's drop a. Can we bring in one of our dads just so I have an audience that's like there? I don't want to like laugh at my own jokes because it'd be really lame. Anyone want to jump in the stream and can tell y'all a couple dad jokes. There. Oh, not everybody. Okay. Well, now I get to see everyone's reaction. No one's gonna be nice to me. How y'all doing?
Good.
Alhamdulillah.
You guys like dad jokes, right?
We're dads.
Of course.
All right. So I got a few of them.
Some might say we are the joke.
Bam. All right. So, does anyone here know how Darth Vader likes his steak? A little on the dark side. He's the...
No,
Okay.
no applause for that one. No.
Okay. Okay. This one's funny. What does a house wear? Okay. A house wears a dress and a coat of paint.
Oh wow.
A dress, an address. Okay.
I don't know. The first one was better, I thought.
My son needs to join this.
Okay, I got one more. One more. Any doctors? Anyone here a doctor? Do you know do you know what kind of doctor Dr. Pepper is?
I'm not even gonna guess.
He's a physician. Like fizzing
with a fizz, right?
Physician. Right. Okay, take everyone out of the stream. I lost my bad card joke.
Okay.
All right. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah, everyone. I hope you all are doing well. Welcome, and thank you all for spending your evening with us. We are so excited to have a never-before live conversation with the dads of Muhsin. We are hoping to hear answers to questions that have never been asked before. So, inshallah, without further ado, we are going to introduce our panel. We have Tayruj Ali, who is an autism dad, physician, humanitarian, and philanthropist. Tayruj and Dilshad live in Virginia, and they have a 21-year-old son with profound autism. They have two other neurotypical children. Tayruj loves to spend time with family and friends, outdoor activities, and travel when possible. Autism has shaped his family's life for the past 2 decades. Welcome. And next up is Amjad Farah, who is a father of 3 young adults, including Abdullah, who is cognitively impaired and epileptic. 19-year-old Amjad currently works as the Global Account Director for PPG Automotive Coatings, managing the General Motors account. Welcome. And next up is Osman Arain, who is a financial advisor living in Bolingbrook, Illinois. He and his wife Sabah have 4 daughters in elementary and middle schools. Welcome to you all, and we are super excited to have you. Do we have David on the call? Let's see if David's in the stream. Maybe he will drop another joke for him, inshallah, if he's here. All right, we'll give a second. I have a couple more dad jokes. We'll do one more dad joke. All right. So wait a minute. Oh, we got Farhan on the call. So Farhan is here in the comments on Facebook. If anyone that's on the Facebook that didn't put a 1 in the chat, if you can see and hear him, okay, put a 1 in the chat right now. I have Farhan. I'm gonna tell you a joke, my brother. Why do 3 and 5 make a great team? Because they always 8 together. Because if you add 5 plus 3, you get 8. Never mind. That was a bad joke. It's a really bad joke. Okay. All right. I have one more joke before we jump into it. So all right. Well, you guys tell me a joke. Do you guys have any jokes? I'm out here. I'm out here trying. I'm struggling over here.
You didn't ask her to prepare jokes.
You don't need to if you're a dad. You just do it on the spot.
I tend to stick to what's puntastic. So you got to give me some ammunition. I'll throw out a good pun, but a joke from nothing is not my style.
All right, I'll do one more and then we'll jump into it, inshallah. So, Amjad, you know I don't trust stairs. You know why?
You don't trust stairs?
I don't trust stairs. They're always up to something.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good.
I tried. These ones I actually prepared. I wrote them down. I stole them from somebody else, but they're really bad. They're really bad. I'm sorry.
So Juhi's telling you to tell the wasabi one.
Oh, that one's for the finale. That one's okay. I'll just tell it now.
You're saving it.
I'm saving it. Okay. What did the bee tell the sushi? Wasabi.
That's
okay. It's
Farhan's got a joke.
You got one?
Farhan has one.
Farhan, bismillah. Let's see him. All right, comments. What does the one lonely stick say to another lonely stick? Okay. Which one's this? All right, let's wait for it to come in. What does one lonely stick say to another lonely stick? Farhan, the suspense is killing us, bro. Oh, let's stick together. Alhamdulillah. MashaAllah. All right, we got David in the building. David. Let's get David into the stream. I'll have one joke for David. I've been saving this for all week as I was preparing this. Stick up. All right. Let's put David in the... Oh, he's not here yet. Okay. So I still have one more joke left. So let's bring all of our panelists back up onto the stream. All right. Now, let's, inshallah, we'll go around and just have a few questions for you all, inshallah. I would love all of your insight. And I think one thing that is important is building awareness and bringing awareness to a conversation, to a topic, and kind of having these healthy conversations. So I'll leave it up to anyone that kind of wants to jump in for any of these questions, or we can go in order. But my first question I have for you all is, what is the best part of being a special dad? What is the best part of being a special dad?
Sure, I'm happy to jump in. So assalamu alaikum, everyone. And I'm Osman Arain, as Brother Bilal said. It's nice to meet all of you. Best part, I mean, it's hard to say any single thing, right? Because there's so many positives, which may be surprising to a lot of people. But for me personally, I think it has been, just witnessing the development of my child and the impact that she has on our family. So, my daughter Serena is 13 years old, and she has spastic quadriplegia, cerebral palsy, and autism spectrum disorder. And, the strides that she has made in terms of her academics and her socialization have really been, I'd say, alhamdulillah, miraculously good in the past few years. And that is a cause for celebration. And it is something that we celebrate. And it is just, sort of a profoundly exciting and wonderful experience to see things like that. And, that's not to say that life isn't full of challenges or in a lot of ways, but, that's something that's very, very positive and something that I think, at least in the last couple of years, has been the best part for me.
Jazakallah khair for sharing. Anyone else would like to share what's the best part of being a special dad?
Yeah, I'll share. So this is Amjad Farah here in Livonia, Michigan, not too far away from your brother Bilal, I don't think. But So for me, really, we have the dunya and the akhirah, right? And in the akhirah, the best part, of course, is all the blessings and the rewards that we get for being caregivers of somebody that's special, such as our son Abdullah. But in the dunya, while of course, there's challenges as was stated, but the reality is the challenges are so small compared to the joy that Abdullah brings to our family. He's always happy. He's very easy to please. I jokingly say at work that really Abdullah is like having a 6 foot, 210-pound 4-year-old, right? Which you can imagine the sort of fun that is. Just he's always wants to play. He's still, even at 19, still likes to cuddle with us, and these are things that the other kids have grown out of very quickly. And so to have Abdullah in that innocence all the time in our house is such a blessing. We laugh because of Abdullah most of the times in the house. We're together because of Abdullah most of the times in our house. And he really does bring so many blessings to us. We couldn't ask for any more happiness and joy in our lives than what Abdullah brings to us.
Hey, Assalamu alaikum. I'll go next. So I'm Taruj Ali. I'm here in Richmond, Virginia. And the best part of having a child with special needs, being a special dad, I would say, is the unconditional love and trust that you get from that child who has special needs, and the amount of trust they place in you. And, the love that you get from a child with special needs is a special kind of love. It doesn't need words. It doesn't need the typical expression of love that you expect from a child, but it's there. It's always there. And that kind of love is very unique. Our son, Danish, mashallah, is now 21. In the 21 years, he's never said the words that Baba, my kids call me Baba. He's never said, Baba, I love you. But I know he does. And, we love him to death. And that realization that, love doesn't have to come in a particular shape or form. I think that realization is an amazing thing that a special dad has. And it also, the other beautiful thing is having a child with special needs teaches you to appreciate the small things in life, the little things in life that really matter. And it also teaches you to let go of things that, which you might think were really important, but in the big scheme of things, they really don't matter. So I think those things are, one of the most beautiful parts of being a special dad. Thank you.
Jazakallah khair for sharing. I think one reflection, if I can, everyone that when you all were talking, you were kind of talking about this idea of, this, lessons that you've learned, that you've, how it sort of changed you as a person. And I think, one of the beauties about our religion is there's a beautiful moment in the Quran in Surah Al-Kahf where Musa meets Al-Khidr. And, when we meet people, when people are come in our lives, it's not just like, it's not random. It's for a purpose. And Al-Khidr teaches Musa something about himself. And I think what's powerful about people in our lives, whether it's our children, whether it's our neighbor or people that we see in passing at the store, is that they all do something and add something to us, not just in this life, but like Brother Amjad said, in the next life as well. So may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless you all and your families. My next question that I have is, what is the most challenging part of being a special dad? What is the most challenging part of being a special dad?
I don't know if you want to go in reverse order. I'll take this first. The most challenging part, honestly, some of the things that make it very rewarding are also the most challenging things. Honestly, it's hard. It's not easy. It's very hard, but it's also very rewarding. It requires a lot of patience. It requires a lot of sacrifices. It really shapes your life in every way possible. Your relationship, not only with your child, but with your spouse, with your other children, with your parents, with your extended family. Everything is affected by, having to adapt to the situation, depending on what kind of situation you're in. But with that also comes reward. I've had to personally adjust a lot of things in my life. I know my wife, much more than me, has had to adjust a lot of things in their life. And the constant unknown, the constant, fear of the unknown, what's going to happen. There's no given formula that's going to work for any particular situation. They say if you've seen for autism, if you've seen one child with autism, you've only seen one child with autism. Every child is different. In that same respect, a child with special needs, they're all different and their needs are very specific. So the most challenging thing I would say is the uncertainty that comes with this. What's going to happen tomorrow? What's going to happen 5 years from now, 10 years from now? Where is my child going to end up? Who's going to take care of my child when we're not around? And that constant pressure on you really impacts everything that you do in your life and everything that you do with your spouse, with your children, with your parents and everyone else. And you have to adjust and adapt continuously. So I would say that is one of the most challenging parts. But if you can navigate that, then it also becomes the most rewarding part.
Yeah, I don't know if I can say it any better than Brother Taruja said it. It's always the thought about what's coming in the future. When you are a father, you're a parent, right? Father, mother, doesn't really matter. But when you have a child, and I think for fathers, there's some expectations of what you're going to see this child do in their lives, right? And you dream about your child, succeeding in school, and maybe you have a dream that they're going to be this superstar athlete, or that they're going to go on to college and live, have a great career and get married and bring grandchildren to you, right? And alhamdulillah, we're blessed enough to see that with our other children, and something that's always in the back of your mind that Abdullah may not get to experience those things and is likely not to experience those things. So is he missing out, right? You're always worried about, did I do enough for him? Did I care enough? Did I prepare enough? Did I make up for what he's not getting enough? And it's almost the waking up in the middle of the night with the feelings of inadequacy as a father, right? That did you fail in some way? Is there something more you could have done? Not to have prevented it, right? Don't get what I'm saying the wrong way, right? But to make sure that he's living the best life, or the child is living the best life possible. If you want to take them vacation, what do you do? How do you prepare? If you want to, if you're thinking about just going to them to the corner store, right? That there's certain things that you have to learn about your child to be prepared for all those scenarios. May seem like something that was very simple for the rest of us. Is not so simple when you have a special needs individual that you're caring for. And I say special needs individual because it doesn't matter if it's a child or if it's maybe a parent later in life that you're now suddenly caring for. I have a couple of family members that are now starting to care for their mothers that are struggling with dementia as they get older. And this is also the similar challenge, right? So, I guess that would be the biggest challenge. But as Brother Toru said, when you know that you've done it, it's such a huge blessing and a reward.
So it's funny. I think we're in unanimous agreement about the challenge of thinking about the future, and that is. My day job is as a financial advisor and financial planning, and I do special needs planning, including, and of course I'm sort of my own patient one in that regard, right? Of, trying to plan for my own future and my family's future. And even with what I know about how to do that well, it is very difficult when you're planning with so much unknown. Exactly how is Serena's life going to evolve? And that, we've been positively surprised, alhamdulillah, with how well she's done. And where do we go from here? And what is she going to be capable of in the future? is a huge question mark and is so important to what her future is going to look like. It's very difficult to make plans for things like that. So that's something that keeps me up at night. Um, the I'll also add that another challenge, and this has evolved recently, is that as Serena has become more mature and has gotten more self-awareness, which I think is something that all kids get as they mature, has also come a lot of frustration for her of her situation, knowing what her situation is, knowing that she has a disability and that the peers in her class or the peers that are friends of hers are not in the same situation, and it causes her to have some anguish. Like, why is this happening? Why is it happening to me? Now that's a difficult thing as a parent to see your child struggling with. There's no really perfect answer for that. I think we have good answers, obviously, of course, from our own intellect, from what Islam teaches us. But as we grapple with these challenging questions from my own daughter, it's been very hard. It's been very hard to try to figure out and to face.
Allah, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless you. I was at the mass convention a few weeks back, and this was really, so I've been, alhamdulillah, part of Muhsin for a year and a half, but I've always been in a virtual setting. So this was my really first exposure to, the childcare and the kids there. And I got there a little bit early for my shift, and I remember, it brought me to tears. This father came up to me after he dropped off his son and was like already thinking ahead of, like, when he's gonna pass, what's gonna happen to his son. And it never dawned on me, like, I have 3 boys, and I'm always thinking of, like, what's the next snack gonna be. Like, I'm not thinking, a year down the road. I'm just trying to, just get through the day. And I constantly replayed the situation in my head where Ibrahim walks away from Ismail and his spouse in the middle of nowhere, and he's relying on community. He makes a dua, to Allah, asking Allah to put a community around, his family. So I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to allow those, worries to ease in your heart, and allow a community, to build around your family. We have 2 more questions, inshallah, that I would love to get some insight on. Why are special dads seen to be a less vocal than special moms? Alhamdulillah, we have the dad's WhatsApp group that we recently launched. And I remember I asked a special needs father this, and the answer that I got was something that I'm sure one of you may probably say, but why are special dads seen to be less vocal than special moms?
So I'll give my opinion first. And again, I think it's different for each of us, right? For me, I think it's hard, right? I look at all the sacrifices, subhanAllah, my beautiful and wonderful wife Bethany has made. And, I have my career. I'm working, and I it's my responsibility to provide for the family and this, but without Bethany and the sacrifices she made, we would be nothing. I would be nothing. And she is the first caregiver for Abdullah. She is the last caregiver for Abdullah. She is everything. And not wanting to be vocal because I don't want to take from what I know her accomplishments are and what she's brought to this table. I go and I make, alhamdulillah, enough money for us to survive and to pay the bills. But she's the one that is dealing with him, day to day with a lot of stuff. I was traveling a lot, obviously before the pandemic, right? My various roles put me on the road quite a bit. She was the one that was here for the doctor's visits and the seizures and the IEPs and she's the one that did all that work. And so I don't want to be viewed as the guy that is stepping in and, look how much he does with his son. No, I didn't do enough, right? It was her that did it all. And so for me, part of it is let her be the spotlight be on her, because that's where it should be. She's the one that deserves all the accolades and all the blessings for what Abdullah is and has become.
I can go next. So moms are just better, right? Let's just agree. Moms are better. There's a reason why heaven lies under the feet of your mother, right? So let's just start off with that. But why are dads not as vocal as their moms? I would say, I would probably look at it from two perspectives. Number one is a more generic kind of global perspective, and this may sound cliche, but men or dads are wired differently, right? No matter how much you want to try to say, we're all similar, we think the same way, we work differently, we think differently. There is this expectation that, men should not show their emotion, they shouldn't be very emotional in public. We internalize a lot of things. Now, whether that's society, whether that's culture, we can debate that, but I think some of that is, just in there. That's part of who we are. And so that's one thing. But then secondly, I think every family is different, right? I do know a few families where the dad is the more vocal and, more of a advocate for their child with special needs. So I think it also has to do with each family dynamic. And I can speak about us personally. When Danish was first diagnosed, I was still in my medical training. I was still doing residency, internship actually, first year, which is a pretty tough year. And my wife Dilshad, she obviously is always there for Danish. She's always been really vocal advocate for Danish and for anyone with special needs. And at that point in our lives, she sacrificed so much, just like Brother Amjad said, to be the vocal person, to take over, the responsibility of looking after Danish and making sure that, he gets the care that he needs, he gets the early intervention that he needs. And honestly speaking, I was in denial for a long time, even though I was a physician myself. I should have picked up on it. I was in denial. I was like, this just can't be. Maybe he's just a late, he's just a kid who's going to speak a little late, walk a little late. My parents felt the same way. Our extended family felt the same way. And I was just in denial. So she stepped up. She started early intervention. She knew Danish needed certain things done. And I, for lack of a better word, denial is one thing, not having the time, just being busy. And she sacrificed her career. She sacrificed, whatever her aspirations were for that part early in our lives to be there for Danish. And, once that pattern was set, when she started being the vocal person, and she's a much better speaker than me, she's much more vocal than me. And she just took over from there. And I'm really glad that she did what she did for Danish. And, all mothers, I think, deserve a lot of credit for what they do. And in our family, she has sacrificed much more than me, and which is why I think she's more vocal. This might be true for a lot of families, but like I said, I have seen a few where it's the other way around.
So, yeah, I agree completely with all the comments that you both have made so far. I think that moms are special. Islamically, moms are special. Your mother, then your father, right? So, and so deservedly, I think mothers get a lot of credit in the special needs community and in the Muslim special needs community. I don't think that's any different, nor should it be. I do think that there are some cultural aspects, both I think from some of the back home cultures that some of our Muslim families come from, as well as here in the United States too, for men to have the stiff upper lip, to sort of go about business as usual, and maybe not share things that are sensitive. and there's nothing more sensitive. Well, there might be a lot of things that are more sensitive, but this is a very sensitive issue. This is something that really goes straight to the heart, is that you have a child who has atypical abilities, and that is, or developing in an atypical way, and that is very sort of emotionally fraught, and that's an area where men typically struggle. And I'll degeneralize that and say I personally struggle with that as well. And so being vocal about special needs and being a special dad is, I think, is a hard thing to do. And I'm not saying that it's easy for moms. I'm just saying that it's hard for dads. That's all. That men aren't necessarily big on talking about feelings, and a lot of this is exactly that. That being a special dad is a very emotionally heavy situation to be in. And I for better and worse, I think that men are not necessarily wired so well for that. And but I think events like this are a step in the right direction. That we're talking now, right? The four of us are all talking right now, and we have this community on WhatsApp that I think is hopefully the start of something great. And so it doesn't have to be this way necessarily, and I think we can all benefit from improving our vocalness and our outreach with each other.
Definitely.
Yeah, and I'm sorry, Brother Bilal, if I could add, because I seen a question in here or a statement by one of the sisters saying, we need the special dads seen too. Please advise how to get special dads more engaged, socially involved in activities, etc., with the kids. And I think it's about the community, right? It's about building the community so that the dads feel comfortable, that they have someplace they go to, that they know that there's other dads that feel that way. So this event certainly is a start. We already mentioned the WhatsApp group, right? So we're planning on, in that WhatsApp group, to have a virtual meeting for those that were at Masikna, right? We did meet from the virtual group. Some of us met for donuts and coffee at Masikna, and it wasn't a big group, right? But there was three fathers there, myself being one of them. Must have provided the donuts. I really appreciate that very much. Believe me, if you've seen how big I am, they did not go to waste. But it was supposed to be a quick, just meet and greet. And I think the three of us sat there, and over a cup of coffee, we talked for probably an hour and a half right after Fajr. Three people just telling their stories, telling where they're from, and knowing that there was that, hey, there's somebody else that is experiencing what I'm experiencing. They were much more open to opening up and talking. So I think it's a start. It's a start, though. I think the key is being more visible in the public eye, right? And we'll start in a WhatsApp group. It's a little bit more private, if you will. It's a little bit more, you're protected by that screen, so to speak, right? You're not opening up 100%, but it's a start. And I do agree that there needs to be a lot more involvement of the fathers.
I think the other thing I just wanted to make a comment, and this is, maybe it's just me, but when I meet other people, even if they're special needs dads, I like to talk about other stuff, because the lives we're living, we are living the lives we're living, and we're doing things every day, day in and day out. When I meet people, and this is very different from, I think, me versus my wife, she, not to say that she always talks about this, but she doesn't mind talking about this stuff with other people. And I guess it goes again to the fact that we are not good at sharing emotions or showing our vulnerability, if you will, to other people. Even if, you are with other dads who have special needs, I'd rather talk about sports or, something else, that's off topic. That's just me. I don't know if the other dads also feel that way.
Jazakallah khair, everyone, for their input. And I think something that's remarkable, how what everyone has said that's connected, is this idea. It's like it's a starting point, right? Muhsin, 7 years ago, 8 years ago, special needs in a masjid wasn't something that people were talking about. 1400 years ago, having a person that was a slave, thinking that he would be someone that would do the adhan, and all these Arabs are going to the call of Bilal's voice to bring them to prayer. It just takes a seed to be planted. It just takes one movement, one step, one conversation, one talk, just to get the ball rolling, just to get things to click and get things to have hearts and minds open up. So, Jazakallah khair, everyone, for sharing. We have one more question, and then we have a lot of great gems and questions in the chat. If anyone has any questions, if anyone has any questions, gems, please drop them in the chat, and inshallah we're going to get to them. The last question that I have is, what is the biggest secret about being a special dad? Things that we would never have known. What is a big secret? It's not like there's like a secret agency. It's a WhatsApp group. Any daddies can join. But what is the biggest secret about being a special dad? Things that we would never know.
Sure, I can hop in on that one. Yeah, I think, I mean, obviously this is a very subjective question, and I have my very subjective answer to this, which is that for me personally, being a special dad has really been a blessing in terms of giving me a much higher level of empathy. And that's not to say that I was a cold person before. In fact, I've always thought of myself as being fairly empathetic, but this, I think, brings it to another level. There's an old expression, be kind, for everyone you meet is fighting a hard battle. And, for those of us who are parents of kids with disability, sometimes the battle that we're fighting, I mean, depending on the nature of the disability, it may be a very obvious battle, right? Like my daughter Serena is a wheelchair user, so it's pretty obvious that there is some sort of disability. And so the battle that we're fighting, it may be very easy for everyone to see, but there's a lot of individuals with invisible disability out there. And then, people who aren't touched by disability in their lives, there's something seriously that they're struggling with. Everyone has tests. Islamically, we believe that we're all fundamentally here to be tested, and the tests can be very hard. And so when I'm dealing with other people, and you see people are having a bad day, and I know how that is. I know what it's like to be struggling. And so, the empathy that I feel for others is, I think it's on a level that it wasn't before. And so my willingness to be forgiving and to be understanding and to try to be in the shoes of others and to give people the benefit of the doubt, that's something that I've gained from this experience.
I can go next. Brother Usman, you hit on a lot of points, which I would completely agree with. The biggest secret, I think, is it makes you a better person. All over, you're a better person, for what you are facing in this life. And it also makes you realize that how important the little things are, things that you might wonder that they were unimportant, but they're actually the important things, and vice versa. Things that you think are unimportant, they're actually very important, right? Bigger things. And while it's very challenging, it's also very rewarding. It makes you a better person, makes you more empathetic, makes you more patient, makes you more gracious. You are more thankful for the things that you have. And my wife knows me I'm kind of a person who likes to plan everything. I want to have a plan for anything that I do. And, as a financial advisor, I'm thinking Osman is probably the same way. And for me, for, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give us this situation where I'm not in control, that realization that you are not in control, you cannot control your life, you cannot control anything in life. And that's a lesson that, I mean, I wish Danish the best, but he has given me that realization that you are nothing, you don't control anything. There's an Almighty who controls everything. And, that brings humility. Your pride just goes down. And you're more appreciative of the little things. And you have this perspective when you look at anyone else, like Brother Amjad said, you give them, Brother Usman said, you give them the benefit of doubt, right? You always look for the positive in other people. And I think all of those are beautiful secrets that come out through this situation.
Yeah, so I'll share some secrets, I guess, that maybe aren't as always as uplifting as what the brothers here have shared. I think, first of all, I'm a control freak, right? I think, we've heard that everyone likes to plan, and I am absolutely a control freak, right? I can't get in the car if somebody else is driving. I need to be the one in control and driving, right? If my wife says, "Oh, let's go this weekend up north in Michigan." Well, we didn't plan this. No, we can't go this weekend. We have to schedule it. We have to plan it. So I am a bit of a control freak, no doubt about it. And that out the window, right? But I think the real secrets to me are, we like to think, as we said earlier, right? Dads are stoic and dads, are serious all the time. But you will go through an emotional roller coaster like you would never have believed. With in our situation, it's different, as you guys have both said, right, for everybody. But there was times where Abdullah was in the hospital when he was early in his life, and we weren't sure he was coming out. And to see your son in that situation, and then there's times where it's just like the simplest things bring you the biggest joy, right? And the milestones that his brother and sister hit, which were, hey, okay, they hit the milestone like they were supposed to, and he hit them so much later in life. It was such a great joy. We don't tend to celebrate birthdays, but we celebrate Abdullah's birthday every year. Everyone comes to celebrate Abdullah's birthday. And so the emotional roller coaster is a big secret for me, right? If you are new going through this, be ready for that, I guess is what I would say.
Jazakallah khair. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless you all. I think something that you all hit was this idea of, this something that has changed inside you, these virtues that we know that these are traits that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala loves. And, Allah has placed people in your lives in order to obtain these virtues. So I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to allow him to bless your families and to love each and every one of you and your families, and to protect you all in this life and in the next. So we have a few questions in the chat. Anyone have any questions, drop any gems, drop them in the chat. And also please make sure to share, like, and share this video to some dads and some moms and anyone out there that would benefit. But we got some pretty quick questions, if we can just, rapid fire. So one question is, what advice, and anyone can just shout it out. What advice would you have for fathers who are still in denial of being a special dad, or might not give the special child the attention compared to their neurotypical children?
Sure, I'll hop in with that real quick. And Salam Farhan Bhai, Captain Mussin, it's an honor to have you in the chat. So I think number one is, I'd say, like, tell them to listen to their wives, because odds are they're not in denial. I think I've started off similarly to, I think some of the comments that we've made earlier, that I wasn't there for a while myself, but my wife was already kind of on it. And and that brought me along. So if you know somebody who's in denial, odds are their wife's not, and start with telling them like, hey, what does your wife say about this? Because odds are she's not as in denial. Beyond that, I think it's a little bit more difficult because you're kind of trying to tell someone sort of their business, and sometimes people just have to have an evolution to get there as well. So maybe just a little the patient nudge, because otherwise it can be difficult.
Jazakallah khair for sharing. If there's a gem out of gems, tell them to listen to their wives. Let's get a 1 in the chat for all the mamas out there. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless you all. All right, next question. How do you react when others make ignorant comments or look down upon you due to your special needs child, especially those who come from culturally ignorant environments? That's a panel on itself right there. Anyone want to jump on that one?
I think this one's a difficult one, right? This is a very challenging because, again, it's not the same for everybody. I will not say how I reacted, but I will say how a leader in our community reacted. That was really awesome. So when Abdullah was very young, we used to attend the Jumu'ah at MCWS, Muslim Community Western Suburbs in Canton, Michigan, and Sheikh Ali is the imam there. He's a fantastic imam. I love that man. He's just the type of guy that when he smiles, you just fall in love with him and his smile. And Abdullah had this habit of, again, he was very young. He was nonverbal, but he looked like a neurotypical child. He had this habit of going, and once the salah was done, he had to be the imam because he's a bit of a control freak like his dad, I think. Right. So, he went and he would move Sheikh Ali from the imam's position, and he would stand there and he would say, Allahu Akbar, and he'd turn and look to see who's following him. And there were some uncles, who were very upset with him and started saying stuff and wanted to move him. And Sheikh Ali is the one that said, no, let him. He wants to be an imam. What better thing is there to be? And stood behind him and did the salah whenever, went through the motions so that Abdullah felt like he was being the man. And that set the tone in that masjid because the leader set the tone in the masjid. And I think, to me, I guess what I was saying is be confident, advocate for your child in a positive way. Don't turn it into a confrontation. Just be positive and be positive with it.
Yeah, I think, just to add, like we said, the things that this situation teaches you, the virtues that you develop through this is patience is one of them, right? So if somebody makes an ignorant comment, I think yes, you get angry, and yes, you want to lash out or you want to react right there. But doing something like the Imam did, is the exact way you want to address this, right? Instead of getting into a confrontation, you got to just take it with a cool head and react in a way that's going to be a positive message for the person who made that ignorant comment. It takes a lot of patience, but I think as dads with, kids with special needs, we have a lot of patience, and, hopefully we can react in that way.
Yeah, I think that this is a long game, frankly, right? This is not a short game that everyone is going to figure out how to have the appropriate, call it cultural sensitivity around special needs in our community. It's a battle, and it's a long-term battle that I think this is, frankly, I think one of the most important things that Muslim does is raising this awareness, and that, more inclusion and more understanding of, what special needs looks like in our community. And, we're not all in the position to be like that imam, like that imam is a leader that everyone agrees is a leader. I'm just a schmo, So like if somebody says something that's ignorant and not very sensitive to me, I think that I always have 100 different comebacks, but they always come to me a couple of hours later. So the problem is in real time, it's something like stunned silence, some sort of weak acknowledgement, and just moving on and try to be nice. Like that's in the moment, just do your best.
Yeah. And I think on that same tone, for that person, or the family that's in that situation, I think it's also very important what the people around them are doing, how the people around them are reacting. And this is where we need allies, among the community, among the individuals who are around us. The imam did exactly what everyone should be doing. They should be responding to that situation in an appropriate manner to make it a situation that's more of a learning experience rather than a confrontation.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I got a few more questions. You guys have time?
Sure.
Okay, my Netflix and popcorn could wait for this. This is awesome. This is way more special than that. Alhamdulillah. So we have a one question. So the person says, I'm a bit new to this, 2-year-old, almost 3. For those who have children on the autism spectrum, what would you advise your past self?
To not be in denial. Easier said than done. To understand what the situation is and try to be, I mean, the age that you're describing, that is the age where you want to be really aggressive with early intervention, ABA, and all those things. And I'm sure you're doing all that. But if I were to go back and see, like I mentioned earlier, I was in denial, and a lot of it fell on my wife, and she did an excellent job. But I wish I was there with her, doing a lot of that stuff. And just try to be proactive. Take advantage of every opportunity that's out there, every resource that you have, like Mohsin, and all the other resources that are out there, and get connected with people wherever you live, who are in that same situation and who might know resources that you haven't even thought about or you don't even know exist. I'm still learning of things that that are available here in Richmond. We're now at a situation where Danish is, mashallah, 21, and he's going to transition next year out of his school where he is, and we have to look at adult day programs and stuff like that. And we had a meeting earlier today, and I learned a lot of things which I didn't even know existed or were opportunities. So stay involved with your community, try to get the best help you can as soon as possible, especially at that age.
Yeah, and not just for children in the autism spectrum, but any child with special needs. There are so many resources out there. I think one of the most underutilized from our community, is something like the ARC, right? There's so many local ARC chapters, ARC chapters. If you're not familiar with them, look them up. I'm sure there's a local chapter near you. They can provide a lot of resources. But what I would love to see start to happen with Mohsin, and I know in certain communities it may be happening more than in other communities. I would love to see that there's a Muslim ARC, right? That people can come to the masjid to get those resources and to get that support. And I know that's ultimately where we want to all see this go. And I'm excited. I've loved Mohsin from day one, and I'm excited to see what's coming. But that, to me, making it easier for our own community members to find resources because they're already there where they are.
Yeah, I'll just briefly add, because I know there's more questions, but I think it's very good to get a diagnosis early, and so to the point that it sounds like this person who is asking already has a diagnosis. So use that to get early intervention. I think the vast majority of states, if not all of them, have some sort of program. And then beyond that, my advice is do a lot of homework, ask a lot of questions from people in the know and experts, including physicians and therapists, and then understand your child the way that you as a parent understand your child better than anyone else, and make the decisions that you think are right for your child. Because you're going to hear a lot of advice, and you may find some of it is in fully jives with what you feel in your internal compass, and some doesn't. And you will not regret, and I'll speak from my own personal experience, saying no to some things that some people advise you to do, and saying yes to other things, and going with what your gut tells you. Bilal, I think you're muted. Bye.
I did that on purpose to see if you guys are paying attention. Okay. Let's do a couple more questions just because I want to respect everybody's time. Um, so how do we, so the person asks, my question is mainly for the future point of view. We always worry about who will take care after our death. Do we have any plan of how to take care of our kids after death? And I think this is like, I think this was already addressed, but it's this idea of always, like waking up in the middle of the night, like you said, and always thinking, did I do enough? And I think there's always this sense of unknown. Does anyone want to maybe elaborate on this a little bit? Or maybe like
Yeah.
what steps that maybe you've taken to start the planning process? Or
Yeah, I think all three of us are, or at least Brother Tarush and I are at the point where our children are now adults, and when they become, or right before they become adults, there are a lot of steps that need to be taken. I'm sure Brother Osman could elaborate with his experience in financial. So the financial piece is, of course, very important, right? Making sure you set up the trust funds, making sure you find all the government resources that are available to your child to help in that arena. Don't be shy, right? Don't be too proud to take that government assistance, because that child is now an adult, and you're not supposed to be taking care of them financially. This economy that we have is not designed for you as the parent to take care of them their whole lives. So take advantage of the systems that are out there that we pay into, right? So don't be shy and don't be too proud to take advantage of them. Of course, you can and you should be thinking about adding to that, but learn about what is a special need trust fund. Learn the laws in your area for what's better. Is it better to become a guardian, or is it better to just have power of attorney? Who's the right people? Be honest about your personal situation. You just talk to the experts that can guide you through that. And that's why I say, going to places like the Ark, reaching out to the WhatsApp group that we have, reaching out to others within Muslim, going to the Muslim website, you'll find a lot there. And yeah, as the brother just said, a will. I've talked to some other Muslims that say, "Oh, will is haram." It's not haram. There's nowhere in the Quran where it said a will is haram, right? So I think that's the cultural aspect again, sneaking in there. Make sure you have a will. You have to protect your child. And as morbid as it sounds, there is a series of courses out there that, again, the Ark's put on called After I'm Gone, right? To help you start thinking through those things. Don't wait until your kid is 13, 14, 15, 16 years old to start taking those classes. Take those classes and repeat them, because there's a lot of information in there, and start them early.
Yeah. No, I would agree with everything Brother Amjad just said. So there's two aspects, right? One is the financial aspect. How is my son or daughter going to be taken care of financially, because they have special needs and they can't earn for themselves, or even if they can, it's probably not enough for them. So that's the financial part. And guardianship, will, trust, your financial plan, all of that comes in there. The second part, I think, is having who's going to be responsible after me to kind of look over this whole thing. Yes, you have a structure, but there still has to be someone, right? And personally for us, we're blessed to have two other neurotypical children who love Danish to bits, and they have such a good relationship, both our daughter and our youngest son. And of course, we're going to, look up to them. At some point, we're not going to be here. And as much as we don't want them to feel the burden of this responsibility, we do expect and we hope that, by the way we've raised our children, by the way we model, that they will happily take on that responsibility of being that guardian or that person who overlooks all these things. Of course, we want to make sure we have that structure, the finances, all of that in place. But you also need this family that after you is going to be as loving and as caring of your child than you were. Hopefully they'll, if you have children who are in the same family, I'm sure they watch you, the way you behave, the way you are around your son or daughter every day, and they learn from that. and you keep modeling that behavior. So I think there's those two aspects to it.
Yeah, I agree 100% with everything you guys said. I think that everybody should have an estate plan. Every sort of adult should have an estate plan. There are plenty of Muslim attorneys and attorneys who do Sharia compliant estate planning. So seek them out. They're definitely out there. They're certainly here in Illinois, and I'm sure there are in other states too. And oh yeah, Muslim has a webinars about guardianship. And whether you have children with disability or not, you should go through this process of estate planning. Yeah, you want to answer these very difficult questions that the estate planning process forces you to make decisions about. And it's very easy to put your head in the sand and pretend that these are problems that don't exist, but they do exist. And Islamically, we know that nothing is guaranteed to us. We don't know when we're going to have our last breath. And so all you can do is control what you're doing in this moment. So this is something that I would advise anybody to not sit on your hands about and go do something about it.
Can I just add one comment? I think one piece that's still missing for all of us is the community involvement, right? So I think we're lucky enough, the three of us are lucky enough. We have family that could step in there and help. But I remember hearing a story quite some time ago about a woman who, the husband had taken off a long time ago, and she's a very pious woman, but she couldn't even go to the masjid, right? Because she had this now, almost 30-year-old severely autistic son that she'd cared for, and she didn't feel comfortable taking him to the masjid. So the community didn't even know this family existed. She was earning as much money as she could in the house. And when somebody finally talked to her and found out about her, the thing that she said that was just heartbreaking to me, every time I think about it, it just breaks my heart, is when I do my salah every day, all 5 times, I do the same dua. Ya Allah, take my son 5 minutes before you take me. Think about that. Take my son 5 minutes before you take me, because she doesn't know who's going to care for her son after she's gone. And this is where we need the bigger community to step up. I know Muhsin's been looking at things such as adult, assisted living homes, things of that nature. And I think that's fantastic. But the community needs to step up here. We as families of special needs individuals, we are going to do everything we can for our kids, everything humanly possible. And some of us are lucky enough that we don't need any help, but there's a lot of people out there that do. And we need the communities to step up and take on that burden. I understand these are not just our children, they're everyone's children. They're the community's children. One part of the Muslim ummah hurts, the whole body hurts. So please, if you know of others that maybe aren't even aware of this situation, please let people know.
Jazakallah khair. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless you all. I want to respect everybody's time, so inshallah we can wrap it up. So if anyone again wants to join the Muhsin Dads group, visit tinyurl.com/MuhsinFathers. If we didn't get to your question and you still would like it to be answered, please reach out to us. Make sure to share this video with people in your community, whether they're mom, dads, cats, dogs, anyone. Just send this out to everybody out there. Any final, any gems, by the way, from the audience, drop them in the chat. But any last final comments, statements, anything that any of the panelists would like to. And by the way, let's get some ones in the chat for our panelists. Let's get some ones in the chat for the dads. MashaAllah, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless you. And shout out to the moms as well. Shout out to the moms as well. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless you all. Any last things that anyone wanted to share?
I think the last thing I would like to share is you're not alone, right? The whole purpose of doing such things, such panels, is to make people realize that you're not alone in this. And don't be shy to share your experience or, share your child's special needs with other people. You're not alone. There's always help out there. The earlier you seek help, the better it's going to be for your child, the better it's going to be for you and your family. So just seek out help.
Yeah, I guess
Yeah,
the last.
Let's go.
Oh, go ahead. The last thing I'll say is seek out help, talk to the community. You know, I would be willing to bet that the audience here that is listening is mostly those that are of special needs members and their families. You know, it would be really nice to get the non-special needs families listening to these types of communications. And the only way that's going to happen is if we communicate it and we get it out to all of our contacts and not be shy about it. So please do that.
I'll just build on both of your comments that I like to look at this type of conversation and so much of what Muslim is doing in general as being a beginning. So, you know, let's start the ball rolling in a positive direction as a group of dads, inshallah, that, you know, we can maintain an open line of communication, keep benefiting from each other's experiences, and you know, because I think we have a lot to give to each other. And you know, there's only 3 of us here. I know that there's many more in the WhatsApp group, and you know, obviously in the broader community as well. So let's stay connected with each other and be support for each other.
Jazakallah khair. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless you all. With that being said, I hope you all benefited. Please make sure to, again, like and share this video. And please make sure, if you would like to join our dad's WhatsApp group, inshallah, we'll look into looking for a mom's group as well, inshallah. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless you all, and Jazakallah khairan. Wassalamu alaikum.
Thank you. Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum.